January 31, 1943. 6:48 hours. 1 kilometer south of Jadida Airfield, Tunisia. At ground level the fog sits at waist height, thin and cold. Visibility is less than 120 yards. The road runs east-west, hard-packed dirt, bordered by low olive trees and irrigation ditches. An American infantry platoon is pinned on the southern shoulder. Radio contact with battalion ceased at 6:29. Wire lines were cut earlier by shellfire. At 6:50, a single armored silhouette emerges from the fog. It is moving at 8 miles per hour. The Americans have no weapon capable of penetrating it from the front. Retreat is impossible. The ditch behind them is flooded to knee depth and swept by machine gun fire from unseen positions. Withdrawal across open ground would require 300 yards of movement under direct observation. Surrender is irrational. German armored units in this sector have taken no prisoners since the 27th, death is the expected outcome. The tank closes to 90 yards. Its engine note is unfamiliar. Deeper. Slower. Not the high-pitched rattle of Panzer III's encountered earlier in the month. This sound is continuous, deliberate. The turret is box-shaped. The gun barrel is long, nearly reaching the forward olive trees. At 6:51, the tank fires. The first round impacts 40 yards short, detonating in the dirt road. The blast overturns a jeep and collapses the irrigation bank. 2 men are wounded by stone fragments. 1 cannot stand. The Americans return fire. A .30 caliber machine gun expends 180 rounds in 9 seconds. The tracers spark briefly on the tank's frontal armor and ricochet upward. Rifle fire follows. M1 ball ammunition shatters against steel. No effect is observed. A single bazooka team fires from the left ditch at a range of approximately 70 yards. The rocket strikes the glassy plate and disintegrates. No penetration. No spalling. At 6:52, the tank advances another 20 yards. The platoon leader attempts to call artillery. The SCR-300 radio produces only static. The battery is failing in the cold. He signals by runner toward the rear. The runner does not return. A second German vehicle is heard but not seen. Its track noise remains behind the fog line. At 6:53, the tank halts. The turret rotates left 12 degrees. The gun elevates slightly. The movement is controlled, unhurried. There is no return fire from the American position capable of altering this sequence. At this distance the armor thickness is visible. The front plate exceeds 4 inches. The gun is an 88 mm. None of the men present have been briefed on such a vehicle. Intelligence summaries before the operation listed only Panzer III and IV types in northern Tunisia. This machine does not match those descriptions. At 6:54, the tank fires again. The round strikes the ditch line. The explosion kills 3 men instantly. 1 is decapitated. Another is buried. The concussion ruptures the eardrums of 2 others. The platoon's effective strength drops below half. The men press themselves into the earth. Helmets scrape stone. No one moves without being ordered. Ammunition counts are low. 1 bazooka rocket remains. The launcher's rear sight is bent from an earlier fall. The gunner hesitates. The tank resumes movement. Distance, 45 yards. At this range, the tank's coaxial machine gun opens fire. Short, controlled bursts. The rounds cut into the ditch lip. Dust fills mouths and eyes. A man raises his head and is struck in the neck. He bleeds out in under 30 seconds. The platoon is now fragmented. Commands are not heard. Hand signals are misread. The fog thickens as the sun rises. There is no reserve force. The nearest American armor is over 2 miles away and engaged elsewhere. Air support is grounded by weather. The Germans control the road junction to the north. The field telephones are dead. At 6:56, the tank stops again. It is now close enough that individual weld seams are visible. The white Bokenkreuz is painted on the hull side. Mud cakes the tracks. The engine idles steadily. There is no sign of damage. The remaining bazooka team crawls forward without instruction. The gunner braces the launcher on the ditch edge. The loader inserts the final rocket. The safety pin is removed. At this angle, the side armor may be vulnerable. It is an assumption based on no prior experience. The tank's turret begins to rotate toward them. Time to impact, if fired, is less than 2 seconds. This is the first time United States Army ground troops have encountered this type of German heavy tank in combat. No one on the road knows its designation. They only know it cannot be stopped. 2 years earlier. October 1940. 7:10 hours. Peoria, Illinois. The man who will later be in the ditch south of Judea is not yet a soldier. He is 26 years old. His name is Staff Sergeant William H. Carter. At this point he is neither staff sergeant nor combatant. He works as a foreman's assistant at a Caterpillar tractor assembly plant on Adams Street. His shift begins at 7:30. He arrives early because the buses are unreliable. He rents a room in a 2-story house shared with 3 other men. None are related. Breakfast is black coffee and bread. Meat is rationed informally even before official controls. His hands are already scarred from sheet metal and engine blocks. He has no specialized skills beyond what the factory requires. He is replaceable. Carter's father died in 1933 of pneumonia. His mother lives with a sister in Decatur. He sends money when he can. There is no expectation of leaving Illinois. No plan beyond continued employment. He owns 1 suit. He does not follow foreign news closely. Europe is distant. Asia is irrelevant. On October 16, 1940, his draft notice arrives. Selective Training and Service Act. Report date, November 4. He does not contest it. None of the men in the house do. Their Isolde men from nearby factories receive the same envelope within the week. Basic training begins at Camp Shelby, Mississippi, in December. Carter is assigned to an infantry regiment forming for overseas deployment. Training consists of drill, marksmanship, extended marches. Equipment is inconsistent. Live-fire exercises are limited. Anti-tank instruction is theoretical. The instructors have no experience with German heavy armor. Training films depict Panzer IIs and early Model 3s. By June 1941, Carter is promoted to corporal. Not for leadership, but for reliability. He does not drink heavily. He does not fight. He follows orders exactly. When mistakes occur, they are procedural, not emotional. In December 1941, after Pearl Harbor, the pace accelerates. The regiment is redesignated. Carter becomes staff sergeant by default when 2 senior NCOs are transferred. He is now responsible for a squad of 12. He is not consulted about this change. In April 1942, his unit sails from Norfolk. Destination is not disclosed. The Atlantic crossing is uneventful. No U-boat sightings. Training continues on deck with unloaded rifles. North Africa is announced only after arrival. The men disembark in Morocco in November 1942 as part of Operation Torch. Carter's unit advances eastward in stages. Initial contact with German forces is limited. Prisoners are taken. The enemy appears cautious. Equipment superiority is assumed. On January 14, 1943, near Fade Pass, Carter experiences his first armored engagement. German forces counterattack with combined armor and infantry. American units are dispersed. Communication breaks down. Orders conflict. Carter's platoon is ordered to hold a low ridge with no anti-tank guns. 2 Panzer IVs appear at approximately 600 yards. They advance without haste. American artillery support is requested. The fire falls short. Adjustments are slow. 1 Panzer is hit but not disabled. The second bypasses the ridge entirely and attacks from the flank. Carter watches one of his men, Private First Class Raymond Keller, attempt to fire a bazooka from open ground. The rocket strikes at an angle and deflects. The tank's machine gun responds immediately. Keller is killed. Carter does not move to retrieve the body. He orders the rest of the squad to withdraw by bounds. 3 men fail to follow. They are either pinned or dead. Carter does not confirm which. The ridge is abandoned. The Germans occupy it within minutes. The American position collapses along the sector. After fade, Carter stops expecting instructions to be complete or accurate. He stops assuming equipment will work as described. He begins counting ammunition personally. He corrects men who expose themselves unnecessarily. He discourages movement unless ordered. He avoids heroics because he has observed their outcome. By the end of January 1943, his squad is reduced to 8 men. Replacements arrive with no combat experience. Carter does not learn their backgrounds. He learns how quickly they follow commands. On the evening of January 30th, his platoon is ordered to secure a road south of Judea airfield. Intelligence reports light resistance. German armor is assessed as limited to medium tanks. Carter notes the phrasing but says nothing. At 22:40, the platoon digs in along the irrigation ditch. The ground is hard. The tools are inadequate. The night temperature drops to 3 degrees Celsius. No one sleeps more than 20 minutes at a time. At 6:48 the next morning, the fog lifts just enough for the tank to appear. Carter does not recognize it. But he recognizes the situation. January 1943. Northern Tunisia. By the time Carter's platoon reaches the approaches to Judea, its organization exists mostly on paper. Authorized strength is 41 men. Present strength is 27. Of those, 9 arrived within the last 10 days. 2 have never fired a weapon outside a training range. The unit designation is Company F, 2nd Battalion, 16th Infantry Regiment, 1st Infantry Division. The division has been in theater less than 3 months. Maps are outdated. Road names differ between French and American markings. Grid references are frequently misread. Carter's squad is assigned the center of the platoon line. Their sector covers approximately 60 yards of the road and adjacent ditch. Primary weapon is one Browning M1919A4 machine gun with 2,400 rounds linked ammunition. Anti-tank capability consists of one M1A1 bazooka with 3 rockets. 2 were expended during a skirmish on January 28 against a German half-track. No penetration was achieved. The vehicle withdrew due to engine failure, not fire. Carter inventories equipment every night. Helmets. Rifles. Ammunition. He does not trust resupply estimates. He has learned that loss reports lag behind reality by at least 24 hours. On January 25, near Mejaz el Bab, the platoon is subjected to its first sustained artillery fire. German 105 mm shells bracket the road for 17 minutes. No direct hits occur, but fragmentation wounds disable 4 men. 1 bleeds out because the platoon medic is sheltering elsewhere and cannot reach him. Carter watches the man's chest stop moving. He notes the time. 14:22, he does not record the name. That night, Carter corrects a private who asks whether the Germans knew they were there. He explains that artillery fire does not require certainty. Only probability. This is not said angrily. It is said as instruction. The formative incident occurs on January 27, 1943, 2 days before Judea. At 16:05, Carter's platoon is ordered to clear a farmhouse believed to be lightly held. Intelligence suggests a rear area security element. The approach is across open wheat fields, 400 yards, no cover. Carter raises concern about timing and visibility. The lieutenant acknowledges but proceeds. The farmhouse is occupied by a reinforced German infantry squad supported by a concealed machine gun position. Fire opens at 16:11. The lead American squad takes immediate casualties. Carter's squad is ordered forward to provide support. As they advance, Carter observes movement on the left flank. A German soldier attempts to surrender. He is unarmed, hands raised, approximately 30 yards from the ditch line. Carter hesitates. He shouts for the man to lie down. Before the surrender can be processed, German machine gun fire resumes from the farmhouse. The American lieutenant orders suppressive fire across the entire frontage. Carter complies. His machine gun fires a 6-second burst. The surrendering soldier is struck and killed. The engagement ends at 16:29. The farmhouse is taken. 4 Americans are dead. 7 wounded. German casualties are estimated at 8 killed. No prisoners. Carter does not discuss the surrendering soldier afterward. But that evening, he adjusts his rules of engagement internally. He concludes that hesitation creates exposure. That incomplete information results in loss. That decisions must be made faster than circumstances allow. On January 29, during a night movement, Carter orders his squad to halt despite an order to continue. He has heard tracked vehicles moving parallel to their route. The lieutenant initially protests but later acknowledges the decision after a German patrol passes within 50 yards. No contact is made. This decision delays the platoon by 12 minutes. It prevents detection. Carter notes that judgment, not adherence, prevented engagement. By the time they reach Judea, Carter's behavior is visibly altered. He speaks less. He uses hand signals almost exclusively. He positions himself where he can see both the men and the ground ahead. He avoids exposed vantage points. He sleeps lightly, waking at any unfamiliar sound. On the night of January 30, Carter personally inspects the ditch line twice. He measures distance to the road by pacing. He identifies 2 possible fallback positions but does not brief them. He knows movement under fire will be unlikely. At 5:40, he distributes ammunition evenly. He keeps the final bazooka rocket with his own squad rather than issuing it forward. He has decided, without stating it, that if armor appears, the shot must be taken at the closest possible range. When the fog lifts at 6:48, Carter is already kneeling, rifle across his forearms, eyes forward. When the tank appears, he does not react verbally. He only notes 3 things in sequence. The sound is wrong. The armor is too thick. The approach is deliberate. He understands then that this engagement will not resemble any previous one. And that any decision made will not be reversible. January 31, 1943. 6:56 hours. South of Judea Airfield. Carter's squad is reduced to 5 men capable of movement. 2 are wounded but conscious. 1 is unresponsive. The ditch provides partial cover but is collapsing under repeated impacts. Dust and smoke obscure vision. Orders from the platoon leader are no longer audible. The tank is stationary at 45 yards. Carter observes the turret rotation and calculates time rather than distance. He estimates 2 seconds from firing to impact. He notes that the coaxial machine gun has ceased. This suggests a change in target priority. The bazooka team is to his left. Private Nolan is the gunner. He is 19. His hands are shaking enough that the launcher wavers against the ditch edge. The rear sight is bent. Carter adjusts it by touch. He does not correct Nolan verbally. At 6:57, the turret aligns with the bazooka position. Carter makes a decision without signaling higher command. He orders Nolan to wait. This contradicts standing instructions to engage armor immediately. Carter has judged that the frontal angle will not produce penetration and that firing now will reveal the position with no effect. The tank fires. The round passes overhead by less than a yard and detonates behind the ditch. The blast lifts Carter and throws him forward. His helmet is dislodged. His hearing is reduced to a continuous tone. He tastes blood. He checks his limbs. All respond. The bazooka team remains intact. At 6:58, Carter orders a lateral movement along the ditch. 5 yards only. The movement is slow and uneven. One man slips and exposes his shoulder. He is struck by machine gun fire and incapacitated. Carter does not stop. The tank advances again. Distance reduces to 35 yards. At this range, the side armor is visible. Carter identifies a slight change in angle as the tank aligns with the road. The left flank is exposed for approximately 3 seconds if the turret continues forward. Carter counts silently. 1. 2. At 6:59, he orders Nolan to fire. The bazooka discharges at a range of 32 yards. The rocket strikes the tank's side hull just below the turret ring. There is a sharp flash and a metallic sound. The rocket penetrates partially. Internal damage is unclear. Smoke vents briefly from the impact point. The tank halts. There is no explosion. The turret stops rotating. For 4 seconds, nothing happens. Carter does not assume success. He orders immediate displacement. The squad moves again, dragging the wounded man by his webbing. Ammunition is left behind. The machine gun is abandoned with 600 rounds remaining. At 7 o'clock, the tank's turret resumes movement. The engine revs. Smoke increases. The vehicle attempts to pivot. One track slips. The other continues. The tank rotates in place but does not advance. German infantry fire intensifies from the fog. Rifles and light machine guns engage the ditch line. Carter's squad returns fire selectively. Ammunition is low. He orders controlled shots only. At 7:01, a second tank becomes visible at the fog line, approximately 120 yards back. It does not advance. It observes. The disabled tank fires its main gun once more. The round strikes short and detonates harmlessly. The gun elevates incorrectly. The turret rotation becomes uneven. Carter assesses that the tank is mission-killed but not destroyed. He understands that remaining in place will result in encirclement once infantry closes. He orders withdrawal by pairs toward the rear orchard, 80 yards south. The movement is conducted under fire. One man is hit during the crossing and falls. Carter does not stop. He has judged that stopping will result in additional losses with no tactical gain. At 7:04, the squad reaches the orchard. They take cover behind stone walls. Only 3 men arrive uninjured. Carter conducts a rapid count. He confirms names mentally. He does not look back. From the orchard, Carter observes the first tank still rotating slowly, smoke continuing. German infantry surrounds it. The second tank remains stationary, covering the road. At 7:06, American artillery begins to fall on the road junction. The fire is inaccurate but disruptive. The second tank withdraws northward out of sight. The engagement ends locally at 7:12. Carter's platoon no longer exists as a coherent unit. He has expended all bazooka ammunition. He has lost direct contact with command. He has made decisions without authorization. None of them can be reversed. He does not evaluate them emotionally. He only notes that the tank did not advance further. January 31, 1943. 7:30 to 11 o'clock hours. Jadida sector. By mid-morning the fog has lifted completely. The temperature rises to 11 degrees Celsius. Visibility extends beyond 1 kilometer. The road south of the airfield is littered with debris, abandoned equipment, and bodies. No organized American line remains in the immediate area. A battalion-level reorganization begins at 8:10. Survivors are collected by runners and reassembled behind a low ridge 600 yards south of the original position. Roll calls are inaccurate. Names are repeated. Some men answer for those who cannot. Company F reports 19 casualties from the morning engagement. Confirmed killed, 11. Wounded, 6, missing, 2, of Carter's original squad of 12, 4 are confirmed dead. 3 are wounded. 2 are unaccounted for. Carter and 2 others remain combat capable. Ammunition expenditure for the platoon is estimated after the fact. 30 caliber machine gun ammunition, approximately 1,400 rounds fired. 30-06 rifle ammunition, approximately 900 rounds fired. Bazooka rockets, 3 fired total, 1 achieving partial penetration. No American armored vehicles were present at the point of contact. No mines were emplaced. No air-delivered ordnance was used. At 9:40, an ordnance officer inspects the German tank after artillery forces the enemy to withdraw temporarily. The vehicle is identified as a Panzerkampfwagen 6 Ausführung H. The designation is not yet common usage among U.S. units. It is later referred to in reports simply as a new German heavy tank. The bazooka impact point is measured at 32 yards. The penetration hole is incomplete but has caused internal damage to the turret traverse mechanism. Spalling inside the fighting compartment has wounded at least 1 crew member. Blood residue is observed. No bodies are found inside. The tank crew has evacuated during artillery fire. The tank is not destroyed. It is later recovered by German forces during the night of February 1 and towed north for repair. Terrain outcome is assessed at 11 o'clock. The road south of Jadida airfield remains under German observation. The Americans gain no ground. The platoon's position is officially listed as temporarily held, then withdrawn under pressure. No commendations are issued for the engagement. No citations are written. The after-action report notes unexpected enemy heavy armor and inadequate anti-tank capability at platoon level. Carter gives a brief statement to an intelligence officer at 10:15. He describes the tank's movement, armor thickness, and gun caliber. He does not speculate. He does not mention fear or decision-making. He states only what he observed and what he ordered. When asked why the bazooka was held until close range, he replies, "Earlier shots didn't work." The officer records this without comment. By noon, Carter is reassigned temporarily to a composite platoon formed from 3 understrength units. He is issued 1 new rifle and 96 rounds of ammunition. No bazooka is available. At 13:20, German artillery resumes fire on the ridge. The men dig in again. The heavy tank does not reappear that day. But its presence alters behavior across the sector. Infantry positions are adjusted. Engagement ranges are reconsidered. Reports of 88mm tanks circulate rapidly through the division. The Americans now know such a vehicle exists. They also know that at close range, it can be stopped, partially, by judgment alone. March 1943 to October 1946. Staff Sergeant William H. Carter remains in North Africa for another 2 months. He participates in the advance toward Tunis. German resistance stiffens and then collapses. By May, the campaign ends. Carter's unit is refitted and redeployed. In July 1943, the 1st Infantry Division lands in Sicily. Carter goes ashore on the second wave. He does not note the time. The beach is already under fire. The experience resembles Tunisia but with more artillery and less uncertainty. German armor is present but no heavy tanks are encountered at platoon range. In June 1944, Carter lands in Normandy. He survives Omaha Beach without injury. By then, he is experienced enough to recognize that survival does not indicate proficiency. It indicates placement. He is wounded on 18 July near St. Lo by mortar fragments. The wounds are superficial. He refuses evacuation until ordered. By this stage of the war, he has been promoted twice in the field and reduced once. His final rank remains staff sergeant. Carter crosses into Germany in March 1945. He does not record the date. Enemy resistance is fragmented. Heavy tanks are destroyed primarily by air power and artillery. Infantry encounters them less frequently and rarely alone. When Germany surrenders in May, Carter is assigned occupation duty. He guards a rail yard near Kassel. His tasks include perimeter patrol and inventory of abandoned equipment. Among the vehicles catalogued are several disabled Tiger tanks. He notes the similarity of their silhouettes to the one near Judea but does not approach them closely. He is discharged in October 1946. Carter returns to Illinois by train. There is no reception. He resumes factory work within 3 weeks, this time on agricultural engines. His employer notes his reliability. Nothing else. He marries in 1948. He has 2 children. He does not join veterans organizations. He attends no reunions. He keeps no souvenirs. His uniform is donated to a charity drive in 1951. When asked about the war, he answers briefly. He describes locations, not actions. He does not discuss Tunisia unless prompted, and then only to correct dates or distances. In 1972, during a television documentary about German armored warfare, Carter watches a segment on the Tiger tank. The narrator describes it as invulnerable to early Allied weapons. Carter does not comment aloud. He knows the statement is incomplete. The engagement south of Judea is recorded in divisional histories as a minor contact. It occupies less than a page. It is listed among early encounters with German heavy armor, prior to Kasserine Pass. No map accompanies the entry. No individual actions are described. The tank is mentioned only by type and general location. What occurred there did not alter the campaign. The road remained contested. The airfield changed hands later. The tank was recovered and repaired. The war continued. For the men in the ditch, the significance was narrower. They learned that technical superiority did not eliminate vulnerability, but compressed it into seconds and angles. That written instructions lagged behind reality. That hesitation carried a measurable cost. That judgment was exercised alone, without validation. No medals were awarded because no objective was secured. No reprimands were issued because no orders were clearly violated. The event resolved itself tactically and disappeared administratively. This was typical. Across the war, thousands of such moments occurred without record beyond casualty tables and amended field manuals. They did not shape strategy. They informed behavior. Heavy tanks were countered later with doctrine, weapons, and mass. Before that, they were met by individuals making irreversible decisions with incomplete information, at distances measured in yards, and time measured in seconds. That is how the United States Army first met the Tiger tank in combat. Not as a legend. As an obstacle.